And we're live. Oh, wait. There we go. All right. Welcome, welcome all. Our sprint's starting up. Ah, it's down there. There. There, I got it. Okay. Got this up. We're going to start battling. I've been waiting for actually, I'm going to restart this timer. Pause it for a second. So, because I want to tell you guys all about this. I have been battling my way to get to this particular battle on For the Words. Hey, the lady writes! Welcome in! Oh, thank you. Yeah, the beach runner. It's like my new intro. I really like it. I need to get I did have like an extension on it where it talked about writing sprints coming up soon. So there wasn't it had some build there, but it's mainly just to have like the channel going a little bit so that people can get in, get settled before we just go straight into sprints. I'm working on it. But going back to my uh, For the Words thing here, right before we get on stream. Uh, Anastasia helped me so much. She gave me the outline and where I could go to find this because this creature was part of something I picked up a while ago in one of the special ones because they pulled it from a different area that I had no access to. And so I have worked really, really hard to get access. So this is like the combination of me finishing something up from all the way back in 31 Stories in 31 Days in August. So here we go. See you guys on the other side of 25 minutes. Okay, I don't know what's going on, but apparently my writing audio uh, wasn't playing this whole time, and I apologize. Um, okay, now it's playing, but we're on break. Stretch. Take a minute. Mm. Um, so I was gonna talk about a couple of things, but I think it's more important that we talk about world building because Fox Writer is having issues with there, and I would love you to like throw up into the chat, not throw up into the chat, but add to the chat what exactly you're having issues with world building because hey, we're here to talk about it. As writer to writer, world building can be a real pain. I know that's why a number of writers write into the dark is because sometimes when they know enough about their world, they I'm sorry. Don't be sick in the chat. Um, when they know enough about their world, then they don't want to write. They lose that thread of where the story needs to go or what it needs to do. At the same time, when you're writing in a series like I am, one of the things that came up with my recent novel when I put it forward for some editing by Safa in Usurper Kings. If you want to check out that stream, they're doing editing later today. Highly recommend it. Great stream to watch to learn from. Also, a great stream if you have a piece that you want looked at for any reason whatsoever. They have great feedback. So, with that in mind, going back to world building, I didn't realize that I was starting my story strong, but not doing enough of an explanation of things in my world for a new reader coming into the series or someone who hasn't read the books before. Now, there's a writer that I dearly love, adult content. Big warning sign. If you're not into reading adult comment and near spicy romance type scenes, I don't recommend this author. Um, it's actually an author team. It's a husband and wife team, and so they took her first name, Iona, and took his first name and made it a last name. Um, and they write things. My favorite of their series is this science fiction fantasy world build in which there's like an innkeeper who solves mysteries, but the inn is like so advanced science tech that people and human beings consider it magic. Uh, so Fox Writer writes, my problem is that I am writing a full epic fantasy style and I'm trying to come up with races, but I can't decide if they all share the same culture or if they need different cultures and how that all ties together while still avoiding the racial profiling and racist undertones of so many novels. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. I totally get what you mean. So trying to come up with the people in the world, how they fit together, and how to make it all balanced is a struggle. It is. It is definitely a struggle, and something that as writers we can do a couple of things. First one is we can cheat, and since this is a really good topic, I'm gonna go over here just quick second. I'm gonna pause my sprint timer. Give us more than 30 seconds because I think this is a really awesome topic. So I'm going to take a minute with it if you don't mind, Fox Rider. Uh, so the first thing that we can do is we can totally cheat and lean into the tropes and races that exist in our world around us, but we can also look at the world builds that have come before us. So you can look at what D&D has done with these things. You can look at what gaming groups have done with these things. You can look what movies have done with these things. And that that's like an easy way out for most of us, and we're like, "No, I need to be unique. I need to be." Yes, yes, okay, you can be unique. Uh so that's why, the second way is you can just do it minimally. Set up what people look like in your head. Think about how they're acting in relationship to things that you've come in contact with. Don't make it a big deal. I think one of the biggest issues with culture is that we forget that we act in the culture that we are raised in, and that might make us completely different people from the culture we're living in. So I was raised in a very specific culture. Okay, I'm gonna pause what I'm saying here for a minute. Easy, just specify that all of the genetically only had rod photoceptors and no cones. Okay, I don't know what that means. Um, and I'm getting a picture of like cone heads and aliens. Uh, that way you can say they're colorblind and can't be racist. Oh, but see, blind people can have opinions. That's enough. Yeah, yeah. So, uh, Fox Rider writes back, that's not exactly how racism works, right? So, uh, I'm gonna drop the racism. I just don't want to go there as in relationship to world building in this topic. And we're gonna replace that word with culturalism, because you can be a part of a culture or you can be part of multiple cultures, and they can have feelings about other cultures. And though, let's not use a loaded word that comes with people's pre-interpretations when it comes to our world builds, because we're in fantasy. So this is my fantasy land, this is your fantasy land, and we're going to fantasize about the cultures and cultural isms within it. If you guys don't mind, thank you. I appreciate that. So, going back to my own experience as an individual, I grew up in a very tight knit, very specific kind of culture within a greater culture. And it exposed me to different norms and different expectations of discrimination, uh, based on other factors besides what we've talked about before, configurations of race and configurations of genetic mutations, and such as, dwarf versus human versus other thing. I was set up to a very different culture. And within that culture, I also got to travel to other places in the world. So I lived in other countries besides the one I was born in, and those countries had their own cultures. And so I was a foreigner in those cultures, in those countries, but they affected how I came back to my country of origin. And an example of this, and I'll get down to what you're talking about, Fox Rider, in just a second. An example of this is I spent time in Germany and in Europe. And when I was in Europe, I was at an age where I was very impressionable. And so the idea that you could have nude beaches, uh, or run it like in the summer, that this part of the path going to your school is now a nudist area, and no one questions it and no one talks about it. That teenage girls going around shirtless because it's hot in the summer is a completely acceptable thing because it's part of the culture. That if you're at a pool, a community pool in town and you're under the age of 5 or over the age of 65, and bathing suits are not required. That there is open showers and open changing areas for each of the sexes. It's separated men to women in the bathing and dressing areas, but that's it. That's the only separation for that particular aspect. And in America, that is like unheard of. That you will not go into a pool, a community pool in America, and find open showers and open locking rooms unless you're in like high school. And so yeah, it's culture shock. Except for I was of an age that it didn't shock me. What shocked me was when I came back to America and we to find it so close knit, to find so much like no, you need to be behind a curtain. You need to be shelved into this tiny room where you can't move. You can't just have like benches and open and it's fine. It doesn't matter who's looking at your body because no one's looking at your body. They're just trying to get in and out of whatever they're doing. And that you can have that in your world build. You can have this difference of culture between one race and another, where one race violence is hugely like unacceptable, but they embrace physical bodies. Whereas in another, in a side by side culture that might be touching or different worlds or something, that culture can totally embrace visual violence and not have any issue with it, but they cannot stand to look at you without clothes on. And if we build these things into our world build and we attach them to different things, you 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 can create other kinds of conversations, and they don't have to be tied to what we think of as cultural norms. So Foxwriter writes, culture is the key thing here for me because elves and dwarves don't have the same culture, but they're living so close together in this world that they might have the same culture. And that is something to think about. Like, because a lot of how many cultures do we have in America? We're a melting pot, but we also came from other places. How much does things get normalized over time? Do I think a good example of this would be Jewish culture in Europe. Uh, the fact that they were ostracized created differences and created a standout. Now, I'm not trying to get into the religious history or that kind of thing. I don't. That's not the point of this. It's this idea that whatever it is that separates them or keeps them together is what's important. And we have norms that we can look at around us, but we don't have to accept those norms. Maybe you're trying to say something different. And I know that with Anastase, she writes a four culture world in her world building. And one of the ways that she separates the elves from the dwarves is elves have this like mass mind kind of mentality where they need peace and love and because they feel each other's pains. So there that cultural aspect of the fact that they kind of have a little bit of a hive mind affects even when they're not in their own selective cultures. Where on the flip side of that, uh, their her dwarves can't eat any kind of plant matter. It will absolutely mess with their system. They can only have rocks, earth, and meats. And so only being able to eat certain foods separates their dining experiences, separates their ability to eat with other people, even within the same towns and structures, uh, and hurts their ability to socialize in some areas. So it doesn't have to be huge to create separation and distinction. Foxbury writes, uh, I know a woman with a double mastectomy, and people still get mad at her if she goes to the pool in a t-shirt because it's indecent without a bra. Like, what? Yeah, like, but that's culture, right? It's this expectation that it doesn't matter if you have the tools or not. The fact that you're not covered up in the way that we want you to be covered up means that you're breaking a cultural norm. Uh, you're not doing what you're expected to do, so it breaks a cultural norm, and that's what you got to think about with your races. Uh, oh, that's a fantastic, unique idea. I like that. I think I'm super lagged. Oh, I don't know what that last one means. But hey, I hope this helps. We're gonna do another 25-minute sprint, and then I'll send you guys on to the next people. Good. I'm so happy to hear that, Fox Rider, and hopefully other people listening to this stream have gotten some great information out of it. But the best thing that we can do as writers is to be productive with whatever our tasks are for today, because if we don't get our tasks done, we'll never get to the writing. And sometimes the writing is the task, which is what I'm going to be working on. And so I will see you on the other side of this 25 minutes. And we are back. And I started the stretch early. uh, oh, sometimes you just got to get those kinks out. 25 minutes of. So, how did it go for you guys? How productive were you uh, during this stream? I'd love to hear from you. I got 819 words in, and that's pretty low for me. A little less, a little over 300 for the first sprint. I must have hit close to 500 for the second sprint. So my average is typing wise is 500 words per sprint. I can do a little bit better than that. I can do a little less than that. If I'm doing voice to text, I can usually do about 7 to 900 words per sprint, so almost double. But today I'm doing the typing thing. And it definitely was going slower because I'm filling in holes. When you have to like read to catch up and then enter something and then skip down and then read and pad things, it takes a bit. It takes a bit. So love to hear how you guys did. And really quick, apparently I'm having problems with my writing audio today. So we will figure that out for the next time. Down and off the screen. Give you guys a couple of minutes to figure out. Taking a break, hydrate, stretch, stand up if you've been sitting down, sit down if you've been standing up. I know when I walk and write, I like to get a couple of squats in, really stretch out my legs to feel better. So, gonna take a look here for my Twitch people and see who else is on here today. All right. So the only person I'm seeing right now from the list that I follow is Con the Elder. So if any of you guys know of someone else that you'd like to go raid, please throw it into the comments now. I like to generally raid other writers and writer streams so that you can be helped and be helpful. But if no one else has any other ideas or people that they would recommend, throw this up here maybe. Oh, Ashley P. Let me look that one up. All right. They are live and they are doing writing sprints. Thank you so much for that suggestion. That's a great fit. Yep, that's how it was put. Let me just grab that here really quick before we finish out this last bit. And thank you guys so much again for being here. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate you being here on streaming with me today. Hopefully it was super productive. and you got a lot out of this. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow sometime for the last sprint of the week.